Hello, Kosovan family. This is Amistad Minutes, the show that gets down to real life topics. And of course, today our topic is going to be holiday blues. And to help us figure out what the holiday blues are, we have Dr. Garcia Blow. She's always so great at helping with these topics. So, Dr. Garcia Blow, thank you. And again, for coming on our little podcast and tell us a little bit about what holiday blues are and let us know.
Sure. Thanks, Beth, for having me. Love being here. Love giving information to our Amistad family. Holidays are always a stressful time, and they could be good stress and bad stress. And so holiday blues is the idea that we have a lot of emotions around the holiday. And so we find ourselves really struggling sometimes with so many events, so much stuff going on. Maybe there's financial stressors, maybe there's anxiety. Maybe there's a little bit of memories that play a part for us. Some of us have had big losses in our families. And so holidays can bring up a mixed amount of emotions, and that's all encompassing in holiday blues.
Okay, great. And is it more common than people think, or is it just something that only once a year that comes around? How does that affect?
I feel like we are in a holiday season year round, right? It feels like we're one holiday after another. It affects all of us differently. It depends a lot on our culture and our traditions and what holidays seem to be for different families. But we most certainly do see it with a lot of people. We definitely feel like it's probably understood in the sense that a lot of people are struggling and going through different things. And perhaps sometimes we miss that depending what our own personal emotions are around the holiday. And sometimes we don't notice our friends, our neighbors, our family members struggling through the holiday time.
And let's go back to why and what you think contributes to these feelings that we have during this time of year.
Sure. I think the holidays bring a number of emotions to the surface for people. I think anymore, all of us, right? I hear our staff, I hear my patients talking about it, the financial stresses that sometimes come with a holiday that should otherwise not have that tied to it. But sometimes that's just what is considered the norm. And so people feel the pressure of that. I also think that a lot of the times, like I said, there might be jobs, there may be stresses with having time off, and what are you going to do? Or not having time off and having the pressure that your family will be there. And so our sleep cycles are disrupted, our eating habits are disrupted, and our regular routine is disrupted. And so sometimes that can add to the stress. And again, holiday blues can include the excitement of the holidays. And so this mixture of emotions can sometimes have a negative impact on our health. So we want to be aware that this exists.
That makes a lot of sense. Just knowing the reason helps people feel less guilty about feeling the way that they do.
Absolutely.
Helps a lot.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into what people really want to know. How can we avoid these feelings, or what can we do to lessen these feelings as well?
Sure. And that's a great point, Beth, because sometimes, okay, you understand it, but one is to normalize it. It's normal for us to feel however we're going to feel. That's the key, right? There is no right way to go through the holidays. It is whatever it's going to be, and recognizing that there's nothing wrong with us having these feelings. And then what we do with everything else, right? Let's compartmentalize it. Let's put it into perspective. And so if your stressor is financial, maybe you sit with your family that year. I remember doing this with our family. And so one of the things we did, one of our friends did 4 things that you gave your kids, let's say. And one of them was something to read, right? It didn't all have to be wants, right? And
Yes.
it could be something you needed, right? And so being able to think that way as a family and putting boundaries for yourself. One of our staff members downstairs was saying our family sat down and agreed that adults aren't getting gifts this year. It's only going to be the kids. And so doing what's right for your family and having the discussions ahead of time, I think are really important. And then the second thing is making sure that we identify what our big stressors are, that we talk about it, that we share. And those of us might want to be looking around and seeing how people are handling the holidays. Are they by themselves? Does everyone have somewhere to go? Is there a Christmas Eve, perhaps dinner that you have that you can Reach out to a neighbor that you know is by themselves. Us doing all these little things to help one another is going to make a big difference. And so number two, number three are all the things that the holidays seem to bring, right? Food, sleep disruption. And so making sure that we plan ahead. And I think the biggest one that I read and that I see all the time is it's okay to say no. We don't
Yes.
have to go to everything. We don't have to accept every invitation. We can say no. And we can say, it's not every night. And we had that happen in our family this week. There's so many things, there's so many activities. You want to make sure that you're there to support our community and all the great activities going on. But sometimes you just have to say no. Make sure you're resting. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, especially because, and we're going to talk about it next week, flu season is here. We're seeing cases. And so if we don't get good rest, if we're not eating right, our immune system goes down and then we get sick.
Yes.
And so this time of the year is always with that as well.
And you make some really good points because, holidays doesn't have to be about just buying stuff.
Absolutely.
It could just be having family or going to a friend's house and, like you're saying,
Sure.
and having dinner with their family so you don't feel alone, or you know what, like this year we decided we're going to, for Christmas, we're going to watch a movie, play games. We're not going to do the entire let's buy.
Exactly. And I think a lot of us are finding that, right? I'm hearing it with our staff. I'm hearing it with our patients, where we're starting to say to ourselves, why does it have to be that way? Right? And so I think having these conversations and understanding that we're all going through it. So let's all change kind of the conversation around the holidays.
And then also, you mentioned taking care of your body. Sleep is a big factor. I know this because I get very little sleep sometimes, especially during the busy season. Like you said, there's always something to do every single day. Being how can I say, being wise with your time, staying home, and just being home and relaxing. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be asleep, but you're just at home and you're within yourself and you're relaxing, even if it's with your child watching a TV show. So that works great. So with that, also, people who struggle with holiday blues, you said to normalize it, so like make space for our feelings, right?
Exactly. I think it's so important for us to realize, one, everyone's going through it in some shape or form. And the interesting part about the holidays is we all have different experiences. And so one of the main things that we need to do is we need to give grace to one another, right? We need to give space, like you're saying. That's a great way to put it. And say, it's okay to discuss it. It's okay to see how we're feeling and check in on each other, because the holidays can sometimes be filled with a lot of joy, right? It's a great time. But sometimes it can also be filled with a lot of emotion because of losses and family units. Sometimes issues within families can sometimes cause these problems. And so all these emotions seem to surface during the holidays. And so making sure, like you're saying, giving space to each other, knowing when to ask for help. If it's too much, reach out. Your provider is a wonderful person to be able to say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you help guide me? Also, Amistad, we're lucky as a family to have counseling services. And so making sure if it's getting too much, if you're feeling overwhelmed, making sure that you reach out, and, you can always utilize our services here to be able to get you through the holidays.
You actually answered my last question, when to seek help.
Absolutely.
So yes, thank you about that. Most definitely, because Amistad does have counseling sessions here. You don't have to be seeing a provider here with Amistad. You can give us a call at 361-884-2242 and get transferred over to the behavioral health department if you are needing help, and they can set you up an appointment.
Absolutely. I think that's so important. So remember, boundaries, okay to say no. Let's give each other space. Let's give each other grace. I think all super important stuff. And it's okay to have one little bad meal, but let's not make it a whole season of bad meals. So all of us need to work on that a little bit. And then making sure you're getting sleep, go out for a walk, Get some exercise in during this time as well.
Great. So that's the end of our segment, but I do want to reach out and let everybody know that Amistad does have 5 locations. We have 2 in Robstown for adult care and behavioral health, one at the Calderon building and one at East Main with Dr. Fuentes. So if you're needing any kind of guidance there, please reach out to us there in Robstown, and we will be more than happy to help you there. We also have 2 locations here in Corpus Christi. 7017 South Staples is pediatrics along with behavioral health for pediatrics. So if you're needing help there with your children or your child, please reach out to us. Or if you're looking for a pediatrician, or if you're pregnant and looking for a pediatrics provider, please come out, set up a tour with us, and come visit our locations. Also here at 1533 South Brownlee Boulevard, again, we have everything here. We have women's, we have behavioral health, like I mentioned. We have adult services and pediatrics. So if you are needing any kind of help, please reach out to us again at 361-884-2242 here. And of course, Aransas Pass. Aransas Pass has adult, pediatric, and behavioral health. So thank you, and we will see you next week with our subject will be the flu. So let's see how we can take care of each other during this flu season. Thank you, and you have a blessed day.